Part 1. Panic. I fly into my apartment and shout, "Matvey, quick, run to the store. We need to buy food." "Auntie, we have tons of food. I bought potatoes. There is more than enough for 2 days." "Don't you get it? It's war. What if the stores close for a week or a month?" He can't imagine that. Nothing has ever happened in his 21 years that would have stopped him going to a store anytime he wanted to buy whatever he wanted. Fear. They are bombing us. I hear the sound of shells outside the window. I Google what to do. Hide in your apartment between 2 windowless walls. No doors, no windows. I run around the apartment. I don't have any walls without windows or doors. Even the bathroom has a window. The corridor has 3 doors, and one of those has glass in it. What idiotic planning. Maybe best to run to the basement. I go to Google again. Do not hide in basements under any circumstance if there is no water source, air conditioning, and a toilet. We have none of that in our basement. I lie down on the sofa. Nothing's going to help me anyway. Hunger. You have to stand 3 hours in line to buy anything. But what do you buy? Buy meat and freeze it? But if a shell strikes the electric grid, there will be no electricity and the meat will go bad. Macaroni and grains? But what are you going to eat if they turn off the gas? You need something that doesn't have to be prepared. Cookies? They sold out long ago. There are none on store shelves. Dry out some bread maybe, but there is no bread either. I look at the empty shelves in confusion. I've got to come home with something we can eat sitting in a basement while bombs land on my apartment house. Cleaning. I hate dust. I really should vacuum the place. But what if they bomb the apartment? Then why they wasted effort? What if they evacuate us and we have to leave immediately? No point mopping the floors. Does one need to clean an apartment in time of war? Does anyone know what the rules are on this? Betrayal. I didn't understand immediately. Betrayal. I didn't understand immediately what was going on. Why were my cultured friends from Russia mumbling abstract phrases like, "I oppose war," instead of saying, "My government is committing a crime. It has been seized by evil forces. I am in despair and I don't know what to do." Just 3 people wrote it to me. That's probably quite few, given that it seems every 4th inhabitant of Russia is not only not against the war with Ukraine, but even happy with it. I always thought citizens of the Russian Federation were living people, but they turned out to be zombies. What's most annoying is that my friends who quit communicating with Russians and switched over the Ukrainian language after 2014 turned out to be right. I wanted to be tolerant. I thought people were not to blame. It's all Putin. I didn't watch Russian TV. I didn't know what was happening there. Exchanges with a Russian girlfriend. Anna. How are you, Lena? Elena. Alive. The city is occupied. There's no way out. Anna. You asked me to write who among us Russians support you. I don't understand. How could anyone not support you? Yelena. I do believe that not every in the Russian Federation is a zombie. Anna. I have a couple of friends in the Ukraine. Some have been very aggressive, some have quit writing altogether. My friend in Kiev saw a rocket out her window, and she unleashed an incredible tirade of aggressive accusations at me in a text, as if I were personally to blame for that. Yelena, I understand her. When your home is being bombed, you feel hatred. Anna, I myself would like to understand. Yelena, there are many dead and wounded. Kharkov is destroyed. Kiev is constantly being bombed. Many of my friends are refugees now. Anna, I couldn't have imagined anything like this happening in the 21st century. Yelena, I'm afraid to go out of the house. Lines for bread are 2 hours long. Anna, the sanctions against our country are laughable. Half of Russia consists of backwater towns, grannies in the chicken coops, as I imagine it. So, what's not working out there? Apple Pay? I'm going to go feed the chickens. Yelena, it's like finding myself in a film about war. It's a nightmare. You go to bed and you fear your home will be bombed that night. There is nowhere to buy food or medicine. And when you write about all this, your Russian friends answer that it's fake news. What do you think? How do I feel? Anna, the situation is complicated by the fact that I have COVID for 2 weeks, I am constantly on different pills, wiped out entirely, and that make it seems as thought everything is a dream and I will wake up any minute now. Such insane things can't possibly happen in dreams. Yelena, I wish I could wake up too. Anna, a blockade is coming upon us too. It's informational for now, but an iron curtain is not far in the future. But I want to know the truth. I want to see it with open eyes, even it frightens me. That's why I wrote you directly. Yelena, did you see the video of Kiev and Kharkiv being bombed? That's all true. You need no doubt that. Anna, I'm afraid to watch Ukrainian channels. I can't stand so much pain and tears. Yelena, do you think we can stand it? Anna, my husband received an official call-up. He was very surprised. It said something like, just in case, you must be blah blah blah. He's like, okay, he's strange. Yelena, your friends and relatives will kill our people and vice versa. Then you will start to feel hatred. Anna, don't worry, my husband couldn't kill a cockroach. Yelena, if Putin orders him, he will. Hatred. When you hear the sound of a shell flying at your house, at first you feel fear, then hatred. Hatred for whoever did it, for all of Russia, for all its inhabitants, without exception. When there is silence outside the window, your brain kicks in, and only then you can rationally think about things. Until you hear the sound of a shell outside your window, you will not understand what hatred is. Love. I have a friend. Well, not so much a friend. The relationship is complicated. He lives near Kiev, I live in Kherson. We rarely see each other. He used to text me every morning. How you doing, babe? As fucking awesome as ever? Now I write him every morning. How are you here today? Any shooting? Are you still alive? We had decided that each of us was on our own, no obligations, an open relationship. Now we discuss how we will live together when the war is over. You will work, and I will stay home and cook, he jokes. The hell, I say. I will lie on the couch and I will read all day. And every evening I will retell the stories of books to you. He wanted to come to Kherson on Women's Day, March 8, but the war began February 24, and now I have no idea whether we will get together or not. I'm afraid one day he won't pick up the phone. The place where he is now is under heavy fire. Exchanges with the Ukrainian girlfriend. Marina. A woman was killed in the next house. I have no windows anymore. We are escaping now. Olena. Maybe someone will help us get out too, but where? Marina. I had no plans to leave until an hour ago. Now everything has changed. I took almost nothing. The cat is howling. Lena, pack your suitcase. Don't repeat my mistake. Olena. What city are you now? Marina. Rubizhne. 15 kilometers from Severodonetsk. It's being shelled heavily. My job is gone. Shell keep hitting our neighborhood. I have already written off our apartment building. How are you doing? Olena. We are under occupation. No food or medicine have arrived in the city since the war began. We are threatened with starvation if this continues. For now, we are finishing up what we bought before the war. The city authority has not changed yet. The Ukrainian flag is still flying, but the mayor was ordered to forbid the residents to do several things. Drive a car, go out after 8 p.m., and leave the city. Marina. They have begun killing the leaders of territorial defense here. I have no job anymore. Shells keep hitting my block. I already said goodbye to my building. I want to leave. I don't know what to do with the cat. Basically, I'm totally confused, and it's not so easy to leave because of the shelling, but I'm scared as fuck. I am still shaking after a shell fell 20 meters from my house. Olena. An entire family here was shot up in their car on their way out of the city. Marina. I want to escape, but my brain is overloaded. Home, mom, the cat. To say nothing about the fact my boyfriend will be mobilized, that's obvious. He will stay here. He plans to join the territorial defense. Unfortunately, we aren't married. We put it off all summer. First we remodeled our apartment, then we traveled, then we were swamped with work. I didn't really want to get married officially. I thought, who needs it? But now, how will I look for him later if I am not his wife? I only hope he survives. And what's the point of me staying here if all the men are being conscripted? Our apartment is unlikely to survive. And what about our cat? Lena, I can't just leave him on the street. Irritation. I read the posts of those who managed to escape. They are in Europe now, safe, and I am very happy for them. I follow their stories, some in Poland, some in Moldova, and some in Sweden. I understand it's difficult for them abroad, but it irritates me for some reason. It's the desperation of being trapped. Guilt. I feel guilty when I read about Kharkiv and Mariupol, because these cities are being bombed heavily. Our Kherson didn't suffer much. Shopping center, 2 apartment buildings, a few schools. We are kind of outside of things because everyone else is fighting while we are under occupation. This is the guilt of the soldier who has been taken prisoner. Messages from friends. I have had no contact with mother since the morning of March 2. She is in Mariupol. All communications are cut. It's war. All I could find out as of today, no one has had gas, electricity, or communications and food for a long time. Her apartment house was bombed. People cook porridge and bonfire in the country yard. I hope she's alive. I believe she's fine. I'm waiting. Waiting is very hard. I am powerless, but I believe. Today I stumbled home from the hunt with 3 loaves of bread and 2 packages of oatmeal. My sister dad, and aunt conducted a special operation on apples and brought home a pack. There's no fruit, but I need vitamins. I stood in line as explosions went off around us. Fuck it. A kilometer from my house they are digging some kind of ditch. At the airport, 4 kilometers away, we hear explosions at night. I spend all day on the internet, probably like everyone else. I will give birth soon. The main thing is to have access to maternity ward and medicines. People write every day from different cities and countries. Come here. Oh, we are under occupation. Where am I going to go? I keep kicking myself for not leaving. Not for my sake, but for my future baby. I am very pessimistic about the end of all of this shit. That's life. One day at a time. Day 12 of the war. How are you doing? Everything is fine here. Planes flying over, explosions. My legs are killing me from standing in lines for food and animal feed. We have enough to eat for another 5 days. Then for a couple more days we will eat pickled cucumbers and drink fruit compote. I am exhausted. I try to read, but I really can't, especially when explosions keep distracting me from my book. I am counting on the army. I donated all my spare cash to them in order to hasten our victory. Choices. What can you do? Choices. What you can die of during a war. If a shell hits you, it rips you to pieces. If a shell hits your apartment building, you can be crushed under the rubble. When a shell hits, a building might catch fire. You might burn. You might be shot in your car as you try to leave town. You might die of hunger sitting in a shelter because you can't go out for provisions. You might die of hunger because there is a blockade and no food is delivered to your town. You might die of thirst if your water system is damaged and there is no water. You might die of illness because medicines are not being delivered to your city. Time. As soon as war began, we said, it will last just a few days and then it will be over. Then it will be all finished in 3 or 4 days. Then we will know what to expect in 2 weeks. 2 weeks passed, and now I hear this war was planned to last a month. For some reason I have bad promotions. Weather. As I woke up this morning, I heard thunder in my sleep. I thought, oh, it's going to rain. Then I came to fully and realized those were shells exploding. Kherson, March 12, 2022. Part 2. Evacuation sensation of loss. Auntie, why are you saying goodbye to me forever like that? We will see each other in a month. The Ukrainian armed forces will free us soon. Are you crying? Matthew, come with me. I am not leaving Ukraine for any place. I am on my land here. You go. You will be safe there. Where I am going? Why? Does anyone care about me there? I pack my things as if I were hypnotized. What should I take? Don't take clothes. They will give you clothes there. My sister writes to me from Europe. Take your favorite things. It helps. I want to take my favorite pillow, but it won't fit in my backpack. News from friends. Kherson is no longer our city, the one we lived in. The atmosphere is that of a prison cell. I plan to leave. Today I packed into a single sack everything I had acquired for an entire life. I know I will be lost wherever I may go, and I will be super unhappy there. I am still connected to my past life here, but there I will have to come to grips and everything that is happening and discover inside me the strength to live on. I am terribly afraid of this, and so I keep putting off my departure. Russian soldiers at checkpoints search phones, bags, and your car. Smashed cars lie on the roadsides. There are minefields all around. They made me take off my clothes so they could see if I had any nationalistic tattoos. Boy, do I look like a Nazi? Not. The half of village by the road is brutally battered. There are no phone poles. Wires lie across the road. They pinched my phone power bank from me. I say they pinched it. In effect, drunken soldier with a machine gun asked me for it, and somehow I didn't have courage to refuse him. Sorry. We pass checkpoint. The Russians ask us where are we going. To Mykolaiv. Don't go there. We are going to wipe it off the face of the earth in 2 days. One of the orcs at the checkpoint advises us, as if offering friendly advice. Anger, impotence, a forced thank you for worrying about us, and pedal to the metal as we zigzag through a minefield they planted for us. I was in depression. It took a week or more afterwards for me to come to my sense and return to a normal life. But even now I can't call this normal life. I am constantly on the phone or scrolling through the news or waiting for some call from occupied territories. I fear for my relatives. I'm afraid this will last until the new year and that the Russians will plunder our house in Kherson. They visited our parents in the center, and they were at our house too. But that's probably the least of my worries. In fact, my whole life was stolen from me. This understanding comes to you when you try to make yourself at home in a new place. Our old cat won't even go outside. Everything is unfamiliar here. She no longer wants to new life. My daughter asks me, Mom, why can't I go to my own school? Live in my own home? Go to my art school, play with my friends, sleep in my own bed? Why did they take all that away from us? Why won't Grandma come visit us? What can I say? Be thankful you were not killed on the way? That our car was not starved? That neither your leg nor your arm was ripped off? That you were not trapped under rubble? That your family is alive and that we are safe? Rejoice, sweetheart. And now she's crying. Bitterness. I go into a gas station cafe. I want to grab a cup of tea for the road. To leave Kherson, I had to go through hostile Russian territory. This is the first stop. I see content, cheerful people. These are Russians. They don't have letter Z branded on their foreheads. They have no horns nor hoovies. They sit at tables drinking and laughing. Chocolates, buns, and the cakes are all around them on shelves. Everything looks beautiful and it's inexpensive. In my city, right now, storefronts are bashed in, shop doors are boarded up. Right now, people stand in lines for bread in my city. Tanks and armored personal carriers drive through our deserted streets. Sounds of gunshots and explosions are heard. I want to yell at all these people. After it all, It is their country that is at war. It is their fault. I feel tears well up in my eyes. I leave the cafe without drinking my tea. D. Realization. In Europe, everything has a doll-like sensation. As thought, I have found my way into a fake world filled with toys. The streets, paved with stones, are too clean. The houses are too small and too beautiful. I stare at these sweet little houses with their windows. I imagine bombs falling on them, their glass shattering. In Europe, everyone is too relaxed, too carefree. I somehow want to shake them up, make them understand that we, Ukrainians, are not just some special people you can bomb. This might happen to you too, one day. Rockets fell in Kiev again today, I say. Are there still women and children in Kiev? I thought there were only soldiers there. I don't watch the news anymore. It's too hard. Tears. I almost never cried before the war. I didn't cry over books or sentimental films. There was no need to cry in my life. You are the happiest person I know, my friend Sasha told me. I cried for the first time when I saw a burnt-out shopping mall in my city. It was hit by a rocket. Firefighters wanted to put it out, but their truck was shot at. I have had many reasons to cry since then. I cry when I read the news. I cry when I hear the song. The fact of the matter is I have no home. I cry angrily when I see contented, well-fed Russians while their country destroys mine. I cry when I see women in beautiful dresses. All of my dresses were left in Kherson. I know this is a very silly reason to cry. My friend Sasha. He is a music lover. He collects records. I heard music for the first time since the end of February, and I sobbed as I sat next to the player, listening right to the end of the track. I didn't feel any better. He writes, war is when even men cry. They can do that now. PTSD. I leap up in the middle of the night from the sounds of explosions and rush to the window. Did war really started here too? Have the Russians come here too? But no, it's just fireworks. For someone, it's just holiday. I flinch when plane flies overhead. I interpret the loud rumble of a motorcycle as the rumble of a projectile. When I enter an unfamiliar house, I automatically look for blank walls with no windows or doors. Or at least, does this house have a basement? Does your house have walls with no doors or windows? Check it out. Where will you hide when bombs start falling on you? From correspondence with a Russian friend. Anastasia. In fact, I am quite ready to believe that not everything is so clear, that you really do have Nazi battalions somewhere, and that there is convincing evidence that the people of Donbas has suffered from this for 8 years. Elena. We don't have any Nazi battalions, and the people of Donbas have suffered for 8 years from a war that was unleashed by your country. And this is all quite clear. Anastasia. You know, I don't understand politics much. I lack the erudition to engage my arguments. You believe your TV, we believe ours. My husband says we will figure it all out when it's all over. But naturally, he and I oppose the war. Yelena. If you oppose it, why do you do nothing to stop it? Anastasia. What can we do? This regime is designed in such a way that no one is able to oppose the Tsar. Thousands of people attended rallies in the first day of the war. Many of them are still in prison. Long terms have been imposed for spreading fake news. Yes, we are all to blame for the fact that we only voiced our opposition in our kitchens, but we have lived our lives and we wanted to live them. Only heroes are capable of laying down their lives in the battle for justice. I'm not a hero. Elena, but we must stop this somehow. Anastasia, I really want this to end as soon as possible too. But Russia is full of bastards who are ready to kill everyone for 200,000 rubles a month. I don't know when there will be no more. In any case, it's obvious to me that only darkness awaits us. Elena, it seems to me the only thing a normal person can do is in this situation is leave. Everyone who remains in Russia will have the blood of Ukrainians on them. Leave. Anastasia. Personally, I'm not planning to go anywhere. My husband has a job, good position, and it is stable here. Anywhere else we would have to start all over. No one cares about us anywhere. I understand people who leave because they cannot remain in a country that, on the other hand, I don't understand why I should have completely rebuilt my life because of the political leadership's stupidity. Presidents come and go. I mean, they do go sometime, don't they? But my country, my family remain. Disillusionment. Many say now that they have become disillusioned with humanity. I became disillusioned with humanity a long time ago, when I first read about concentration camps and the Gulag. It was then that I realized if it happened once, it can happen again. I often hear the question, how can this happen in 21st century? The century isn't the point. People are not getting any better. Scientific fact. People's brains have not grown over time, but shrunk. We are dumber than cavemen. People are stupid, naked monkeys with nuclear weapons. Anger. I didn't know I had so much anger in me. I am angry at Russians because they turned out to have rotten souls, at the Ukrainian government which allowed this war to happen, at the Europeans who could stop it but are too cowardly. I am angry at Macron, at Scholz, at Zelensky, and the Lord God, at those who switched over to speaking Ukrainian and at those who did not, at those who left the country and at those who stayed behind, at those who continue to have faith and at those who have already given into despair. I am angry even to myself, although I don't know what for. I give into anger so I won't hurt so much. Arithmetic. 22,000 civilians were killed in Mariupol. I am now hiding from the war in the Irish town of Wexford. The population of Wexford is 22,000 people. Imagine for a second that your entire city is dead. Imagine that everyone you know has died. Imagine that all houses in your city have been destroyed. By the way, how many people live in your city? 300,000 people lived in my hometown of Kherson. 150,000 of them left because of the war. They all live in different places now, scattered everywhere. They have nowhere to go back. because Kherson is occupied. Imagine that you left and you have no place to go back to. 44 million people live in Ukraine. 6 million left the country. The rest live in a state of war. But the way, where will you escape to when war comes to you? I hope you have a reliable plan. From correspondence with a Ukrainian friend. In my picture of the world, Ukraine balances on a line of separation between good and evil. Europe and America are in no hurry to supply weapons so as not to anger the schizophrenic Putin. Otherwise, in a fit, he might destroy all of humanity in an atomic conflagration. Of course, they won't let him seize Ukraine, but they don't want to deliver him a crushing defeat either. Along the way, they stall as they wait for sanctions to devour the Russian economy, so that Russia itself will abandon this unprofitable, crazy fraud of a war. Then Ukraine will remain intact, and the Russians will be sated. For all this we pay with our lives every day. Emptiness. One day I started scrolling through the news about shellings and deaths. One day I chose not to look at photos of destroyed houses. One day I saw a photo of a dead child and I didn't cry. One day I didn't read the news, turning on music instead. One day I wanted to watch my favorite TV series again. One day I wanted to forget about the war forever. One day it seemed to me that I would never feel anything anymore. Despair. People here ask me all the time, "How are you?" And I answer, "I'm fine, I'm good." I know this is accepted here and that you should smile, but I'm not fine and I'm not good at all. Every morning I learn about the new deaths and destroyed homes. Every time I feel like a piece of me is breaking off too. Expectations. I no longer expect to hear the news that the war has ended, as I expected to for the first month. All the same, I am expecting that in another month or so it will all end. It's impossible for this horror to last long, but the impossible lasts and lasts and lasts. Faith. We now have the Ukrainian armed forces in place of God. I believe in the Ukrainian armed forces. I believe that good will be victorious. I believe in our victory. I believe that Moscow will be destroyed and that the bunker draft will disappear. I believe that all Russians will see the light and repent. I believe that Russia will disappear from the face of the earth. I believe that Kherson will be liberated and that all my friends will return. That one day everything will be as it was before. That we will gather again at my friend Sasha's to play board games. We will drink tea and listen to music, and everything will be as usual. Sasha will say, "You will win. I believe in you. You are tenacious. It's just that I don't like to die." I will answer him as always. The last time we played board games was during the occupation. Sasha is still there in my city that has been distracted by the Russians. There are no jobs, no money, no medicine. Communication lines do not work. People there are still waiting for the return of the Ukrainian armed forces. Sasha last wrote to me, "I know you will be fine. You are tenacious. I believe we will see each other again one day. You can go crazy if you don't believe. Wexford, Ireland, June 16, 2022.